Hello and welcome to the Beth of Fresh Air. So happy to be here. This is fun for me. This is the 21st episode of the Beth of Fresh Air, so it's a pretty new podcast, but that already feels like a large amount for some reason. You go every single week for 21 weeks. We're here live on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. And then after these podcasts, everything gets uploaded to my podcast channels, Spotify, iTunes, and a whole bunch more if you just search it up if you'd rather do downloads than videos. And so I'm super excited to have Wonnita. I know her as McDonald and Brands. So if you have any confusion, we've got her name up as Wonnita McDonald. That's some of us have multiple names. And then we'll get started talking about some rewind. I call this episode Rewind because there's so much we just kind of went forward with everything, and that's what you do. That's what survivors do. Unfortunately, it's like, oh, life keeps going. We have to keep living. Everything keeps happening. So we're going to go deep into that, try to bring it to the surface. And hello, Jackie K. Nice to see you. Do come say hi in the chat. And it's always way more fun along with you guys. Miss Michelle's in the chat already. Fantastic. Good to see you. And I want to share a comment that I got after the last episode with Micah Ehlers was here talking about Gurdjieff and all kinds of interesting things. And then she said, with permission, I'm sharing, you have the best podcast on the entire internet. This I've never heard, like amazing. Unreal how you can be so happy with a wide smile on your face in these times. It's kind of contagious. YouTube had to shadow ban your channel to prevent an epidemic of smiling and positivity. You're like a ray of light from the higher worlds, given that humanity is basically in hell. So my dear friend, Wonnita is also a ray of light. I think we share this. And so without further ado, please welcome Wonnita.
Hi.
Hi, Wonnita. So great to have you here.
So great to be here, Beth.
We're so close and so far. We thought we would be in person today.
Right.
and it's totally fine in a way. It's technically way easier to do it my normal way. But we are getting together for dinner after this, so we still get the best of both worlds. And that was really fun. This channel is super shadow banned. It's very easy to come away from these podcasts thinking, oh, nobody cares, or there's nothing going on, people don't like it, all of those conclusions that I actually coach people to not make, right, those conclusions, because you don't know, and often it's that people haven't seen it, and then you add censorship and shadow banning into the mix, and sometimes it can seem like really it's just going off into the ethers. But I feel inspired to keep going, and those kind of comments do keep me going. So welcome, Elisa. Nice to see you. It's been so great to have you around the House of Free Will. Just a really quick message about what's happening in the House of Free Will, and even to catch you up, Wonnita, is we're deep into Gurdjieff.
Okay.
Yeah, one of our members, Micah, who was on last time, he has studied the works of Gurdjieff, and he can actually answer most every question I've had about it to the depth of his own study. It's super, super beautiful. Have you got into Gurdjieff at all, Wonnita?
I have. Not a lot, but I have. I had, as you'll remember, done a little stint with a person, I'm not going to bring his name up, but that wasn't the most reputable. And he spoke a lot about Gurdjieff. So at that point, I did do some readings. And, like all the masters, he was definitely an extremely beautiful person.
Right on. Yeah, I'm really late to the game. Was it Osho, by the way, the person you didn't want to
No.
Somebody else, some other character in the show.
Yes. There's been a few characters over the last, since about 2000.
Yeah, it seems like it's almost strange requirement. But just say hello to Anne, who's in the house. Nice to see you. And Michelle's always so generous, reminding people to like, share, and subscribe if you are inspired to do that. So thank you. And Wonnita, do you want to start just by introducing yourself, what you like to do? I know you're a meditation teacher and you're a beautiful soul. You're one of the most, speaking of positive, you're one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life.
Thank you.
And it's, this is, I have to use this phrase at least once a podcast. It's not fake and gay. Sometimes people's positivity is a veneer or
Hmm.
projection. They're just putting that out there, and they're maybe hanging on by their fingernails, trying to be positive on top of what's not. And you're the real deal.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So about myself, let me just see here. Where should I start? Probably about 25 years ago, I became interested in, actually, it was The Secret, to be honest with you. And obviously, we know The Secret had good parts and parts missing. But the good parts for me was it took me from being feeling like a victim. Why is this always happening to me? These things are always happening to me, to realizing that I had a great part to play in the outcome of my life. So that sort of all started there. And I've always been a seeker. I've always been reading, studying, things like that. But The Secret really took me to another level. And I would say probably as a result of that, I just started looking in a different direction than I had before. I started out in the church as a Christian, which is amazing and lovely. And I feel like I just kept going. I didn't stop there. And so I just started to study in a more spiritual opposed to religious way. And I came across an amazing teacher that I still follow. Her name is Jetta Molly. And she's my main person. The foundation work that I do and love and believe in come from her. 7 laws of existence. She talks about consciousness, present moment, sensations, how our thoughts are creating things like that. So that was, I started studying with her about 2011. And it took me a couple of years because I hadn't really done anything with meditation. And then I was given permission to teach meditation and to facilitate her work, which I've been doing ever since. So I also do work as a manager in a dental clinic. And then in my free time, I work with groups and individuals on meditation. My message really is that we are creators of our reality, and we need to deeply, deeply love ourselves. If we want to bring peace to earth, it has to come through us. It's not going to come through governments. It's not going to, come through leaders necessarily. It starts with each one of us. So, yeah, is that a good start?
Beautiful. Very good start. And I'm going to share your Facebook link here.
Okay.
So for anyone that would like to click on this and connect with Wonnita or message her about any of her classes or trainings that she does, then you can hit that link in the show notes here. It's not actually in the show notes. It's in the chat. So not to confuse you guys, but I can put it in the notes later. Very good. So yeah, let's rewind to we met about 5 minutes before the pandemic or something like that.
Right. Well, I had been following you all along on Facebook, and we touched bases a little bit, but we got serious as collaborators and friends around 2020.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Before everything went kerflooey.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was such a serendipitous kind of timing around that,
Mm-hmm.
because there was something. I was trying to even remember how it happened. It was sort of moths to a flame or something, and there was as soon as they told us we couldn't gather with more than
Mm-hmm.
one person, the
Right.
first thing we did was bring our friends together.
Right. We absolutely did. I know we were rebellious, but we were also very concerned. We could see that from the lens that we were looking through, we could see holes in what we were being told, and so we did join together with like-minded people, and it was amazing. Like you opened your home and you brought us together, and we got to speak about the things that were really important to us and just what was going on in the world. And we started looking for people who understood things at a deeper level than even we did. And so we had different groups that we were meeting with, and that for me came about through you. So that was amazing. And in fact, even when we started, just a few weeks ago when we were chatting, we said, hey, let's do this. That was to have a fun time to just go back over from how that all started and where we've come from there. So
Right. Yeah. Amazingly enough, a lot of those stories, and we'll definitely share a bunch here. They now are a source of entertainment of kind.
Hmm.
Like there's a fun in them. There's an adventure. There's a hero's journey
Yes.
through some of these really difficult times. They
Yes.
started with crying on the floor, thinking it
Right.
was over,
Hmm.
and and not just like the world out there, but the world in here
Yeah.
crumbled hugely.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
I thought was real, everything I feared, everything I thought was real was crumbling. Everything I feared was real was realizing.
Hmm.
And it was definitely a crossroads of a kind. What was that like for you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I've thought about that a lot.
Mhm.
I feel like prior to 2020 and all the things that happened then, I was just going along my life, happy-go-lucky, very involved with the meditations and my close-knit friends and things like that. But on a more surface level, and it's not that I'm surface. I've always been a really deep person, but it was just at a different level. And when the the lockdowns and all of the things that we came across, and especially because we took the stand that we took, it was very, I felt like I deepened and I widened what I already knew. So it isn't that I learned new things. It was almost like life was a lot gentler prior. And so I had to really dive deep inside and take another look at all of the things that what I was talking to people about, and the things that I was teaching, and the things that I was doing myself. And it was like, okay. And luckily, I did have a good foundation, and I did have a beautiful, strong teacher that I had already spent lots of time with. So that carried me through. But like like yourself, and I think most of us who all hung out at that time, we really were challenged to even imagine what was happening was happening.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, it's surreal. And now we're sort of accustomed to surreal. So every
Yeah.
day there's some new weird surreal. Is that really
Yeah.
happening? Like this,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but there was an incident in Winnipeg that so there's say on my King Hero channel on Telegram,
Yeah.
one of my members there posts a lot about immigration and the problems of
Okay.
that. And we won't go necessarily too deep into this if you don't want to, but
Hmm.
so a security guard in a dollar store almost beat somebody to death
No,
from
I didn't know that.
shoplifting.
Okay. Okay.
And this is sort
Okay.
of like, I'm sorry, but a Canadian wouldn't do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
You don't hear about that. It
Right.
was caught on video. Very, very disturbing. So apologies for posting that on my Telegram. It was like, I'm so taken back by that. That's not a back alley incident. This is like
Right.
in public. This guy's so not well. He's
Hmm.
willing to nearly kill somebody in front of everyone.
Hmm.
And they did take him away and charged him and everything like that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's really
Yeah.
good. But
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
just another example of the ongoing surreal. That's this is. I was searching for this phrase last night and I couldn't find it, but I found it now. And the first bit of propaganda that came at us was the new normal.
Yes.
All
And
right.
it was anything but normal.
Right, right. Yeah, it was the beginning. I'm probably gonna have to use a bunch of bad words here, but it was the
Yeah.
beginning of the grand fuckery, right? Just
Yeah.
the turning inside out and upside down of all the
Hmm.
worlds, the real
Hmm.
1984 kind of a inside, outside, upside down kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. Hmm.
I like this. Michelle said rebels with a cause, so let's clarify.
Yeah.
The gathering, I wasn't even particularly at that point. I was a little bit more of a, not entirely lone wolf, but I spent more time on my own and not unhappily. So I think a lot of
Hmm.
people had gone in that direction for many, many years already, getting more and more isolated.
Hmm.
But the moment they told us that you can't do
Yeah.
that, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we must.
Right.
Everybody over, everybody over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I remember, I don't think we were together at the time, but a friend of mine hosted a breathwork workshop, and we had to drive to a parking lot on the other side of town.
Mm-hmm.
We'd a ride that would bring us to the house, and then we drove right into the garage. So the
Mm-hmm.
neighbors at that point, right, the neighbors had literally been told by the media and our what do you call that guy? It was Brian Pallister at the time, our
Oh, yes,
premier.
our premier.
Premier.
Right.
He
Yeah.
was he was telling everybody to snitch out.
I know. I know. It was insane. That, like, it was literally insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like we were
Yeah.
sneaking around like criminals in
Mm-hmm.
order to go to a breath workshop and be with
Mm-hmm.
friends. So yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
madness.
Yeah.
Hello, Heather. Nice to have you here. And Trudeau was tracking our locations by our phones. Yeah, that's ongoing too.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, surreal is fitting, and that was that was the first one that came to me. The flatten the curve, and all the billboards that started repeating that kind of narrative. But it was the
Mm-hmm.
new normal that really just that was like a knife in the chest, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that for me, I think I'm pretty logical. I just that's my brain is pretty logical. And when we were told to perhaps wear two masks because one wasn't enough, I'm like, okay, like that is just so bizarre that we would imagine that there's this thing flying around the air that if we put on two masks, it's not going to attack us. It was like, okay, like nobody's going to believe this, that this is not going to happen.
Exactly.
However, I think there are actually people who did.
For sure. And even still are, I still see them out there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. The masking, the psychology of the masking alone,
Mm.
the giving people permission to be anonymous,
Hmm.
much more so. That was something that Liam told me about his school, that the kids, even long after restrictions were over, there was kids who would just keep on wearing it
Yeah.
over and over. And it's like they needed and wanted not to
Hmm.
be seen.
Right. Yeah. 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 I
Yeah.
know we homeschooled. We had to homeschool a couple of little boys a bit too, and their social skills even now. My grandsons, who I'm talking about,
Right.
and they're gorgeous, and they've done really well. But they don't. They're not looking to have friends outside playing the way we did when we were kids. Now I know some of that is just the world today, obviously with computers and cell phones and things like that. But from that time period when they couldn't go to school and they just sort of stayed home and I just think their social skills are different than ours. And again, I'm a lot older, so they're not going to be the same as mine. But kids aren't wanting to go out and play as much since this all happened. So it definitely changed. Everything about our world is different than it was before. So to me, the way that I experience is there was the world up until about 2000. I mean, there were other epochs of time such as 9/11 and things like that, but this was even bigger because it was so globally laid out and accepted and all of those things. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they wanted us to believe it was global. But that was fascinating to have friends
mhm.
around the world, and a friend of mine in Egypt going, "Yep, no pandemic here." They
Right?
they're not buying it. They don't care.
Yeah.
There's nothing happening.
Hmm.
And so that was good, because as long as, and that was, I think, one of the reasons to restrict travel. So we
Right.
didn't get out there and compare.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think everything about those times were to conquer and to divide us. And we've been divided in so many other different ways. And then this was just like the icing on the cake sort of
Hmm.
thing. Even within families, I had instances where I had a friend whose dad was in the hospital dying, and she wasn't going to be allowed to be with him, and just different things like that. And I just, oh, my heart, I cried. And I just said, wow, I would call Brian Pallister and tell him I'm going to hold you personally responsible if I don't get to see my dad before he dies, And I think that it did end up that she was able, but, the things that people went through, the stress and the trauma that people went through was just at a level that I don't think we've ever experienced before, at least not in North America. I know, again, across the world, there probably are things happening. There certainly are things happening that are every bit as horrific. But in our time, in our countries, that was a lot.
Right. Yeah. And it's like this psychological stress and trauma can, in some ways, I'm not diminishing anyone that would go through physical stuff. Obviously, that's another level. We were physically safe, but we were psychologically in a lot of danger in that respect. Yeah, there's it is really heartbreaking. I was just remembering one of my friends, it went both ways, where they were heartbroken they couldn't see loved ones in the hospital. And then there were those that it almost looked like relief. Like, oh, I can't go see my mom. She's going to die alone. And I'm like, I want to take someone by the shoulders, like, go see your mom, break in the hospital,
I know.
pull the doors down. But they just went into this kind of complacency around it and even relief, I think. It's.
I think there was a lot of apathy, and still is. I feel like even now, the trauma hasn't, it's still impacting. I feel like there's still major impacts. I had somebody recently just say to me, "Oh, measles are on the rise," and I'm like, "We all had the measles when we were children, and we were sick for a few days, and we ate chicken noodle soup, and my dad put a cold cloth on my forehead, and 3 days later, you were a child out playing again, and it didn't matter, and it likely went through the whole family." We all got it for whatever reason. Like, I have many different ideas about these things now that I would have had even then, because we talk about, terrain versus germ and all of those things. So I've studied all of that in the last years. And I've always been very holistic anyway. My dad was very holistic, and he and his older brothers and sister, they're like my heroes. They all lived into their late 90s and into their hundreds, and they didn't have cancer, and they didn't have Alzheimer's, and they didn't have, the diseases that seem to be so many people have right now. And at any rate, so we were just very holistic. So for me, the decisions that I made during COVID would have had to do with my whole life of being a very holistic person. So I think I got off track. I forget what I was going to say there. Apologies.
No, that's great to hear. I forgot to warn you, we should probably use some code words.
Yes, sorry, I did.
Okay.
As soon as I said that, I realized I'm not used to being on a platform here. I'm usually just chatting with you, and it doesn't matter.
That's okay. It's not usually like one, but like I say, poison jabs instead of the C word and stuff like that. Just I'm just in the habit of doing that now.
Sure. I'll do my best to stay present.
Not a worry. I told you way too late. So yeah, I was just going back to a few of the comments here that the warning on the mask boxes literally said they weren't to be used for medical purposes. Right. They had gone public saying no, don't worry about masks. They won't work. Right. Like we all knew that. It's written on the box.
Yeah.
And then that's part of the psychological torture. That could very well have been planned, not just an oops on their part.
Right.
But let's give very confusing information that's going to divide your own psyche from itself. Right? That's where they start to actually win over your psyche when it's so divided. Confusion was a major weapon.
Oh gosh, yeah, and still is. It's worse now. I mean, it's different because we don't have that thing, that we're faced with in the moment. But there's just so much information now that you just think, oh, good, I know this. And the minute you know that, even your phone is listening, right? So something comes up that's completely different from what, like there's just so many, whether it's doctors or scientists or whatever it is, it's just, you think, oh, okay, well, that makes sense to me. And then immediately there's something that comes up against it. So I think the confusion right now, what you're speaking about is, it's the next step from what we were just speaking of there. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the things I always point out is confusion is the child archetype shadow, not the only one. There's a bunch, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a big one.
Yeah.
And you can see that's exactly where they wanted people in that childlike state, where
Mm-hmm.
they really didn't know up from down and needed to trust in some authority to tell them how things were and
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah, yeah. What I love about what I've learned and what I continue to study and learn is about consciousness and about what I believe we actually are. So, because the fear of death is so powerful, and fear itself is so powerful when it's being used. And so I just love that. Obviously, I don't want to die anytime soon, but I do believe that we're more than this, physical body. So that's helpful.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it goes a long way, let's say. Yeah, there's
Mm-hmm.
some traps in there too. I
Mm-hmm.
know I faced that when I was sick with cancer, and
Yes.
I had a belief in immortality, and it confronted me
Mm-hmm.
what the nature of belief is and how thin of a veneer it can be.
Mm-hmm.
Heather was just saying that she was confronted about being maskless. She would just state she had an exemption on file. That file, unbeknownst to anyone, was labeled stupidity.
I love it.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What were some of the, let's go
Oh,
through that.
Beth,
So many.
Beth, can
Yeah.
we talk about this real quick? This was one
Yeah.
of my favorites because
Yeah.
you're way more rebellious than I am. Like I'm just quieter. I do all the things, but remember we went to the flower place, wasn't it? Like the flower where to buy flowers, plants. And before we went in, we talked, and I said, well, you said I'm not masking, and I'm going in and I'm just going to take my stand. And I said, well, if they confront me, I'm not going to argue with them. So hilariously, because I do teach that we are creators of our own reality. So you and I went into this place without masks, and we were confronted as soon as we walked in. You held your ground and away you went, just like you said. And I had exactly the experience that I said. They said, okay, we can only let one of you in without a mask. So you go stand back outside. So I had to go stand back outside. And I think then you convinced them to let me in. And I came in and we shopped. But, and again, if you even look at that and how ridiculous it was, only one person in at a time or whatever. But anyway, yeah. So
We're
that
only
was one of.
we're only going to break the rules for one person at a time. That was an interesting store. It was owned by a Hungarian, and so
Okay.
they've been through communism.
Okay.
And I think my previous visit there, her and I are like, things aren't right, are they? No,
Yeah.
I've seen this before. I know what's going on. She was fully in the know of all
Mm-hmm.
of this, but you're caught between a rock and a hard place because you
Sure.
want
Sure.
to operate your business, and they'd already been damaged beyond
Mm-hmm.
belief in their incomes. And yeah, it was. I for some reason could always come up with a rebuttal, and it wasn't a planned, scripted thing.
Right.
I was thinking through in that particular case. I said, "Are you violating my private health information? Do you know about the?" I said it. I think I even said it way better than that. But do you know that? Are you aware of the what is it? HIPAA, the Health Information Protection Privacy
Mm-hmm.
Act kind of thing. And so I just rattled off some not total BS, but and he got intimidated and like, oh, okay, I guess you can go
Yeah.
in the shop. And
Uh-huh.
then yeah, oh, my friend has to be here. And then we were in the midst of shopping, and they started, oh, this is so terrible what you guys are doing. And there was some new exchange I needed to enlighten them with, and
Mm-hmm.
How many times do I go into a store and they try to mask me, and I'm like, "Show me the law." And
Yeah,
and now I know there actually was one. Like we were big in the truth community saying bylaws are not laws.
right.
They are. They actually are laws.
Okay.
They
Okay.
are in reality. Yeah.
So when we were to mask, that was a bylaw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So they had the right. Yeah. Yeah, and then Michelle is saying now we have Trump gloating. He's intentionally speaking Armageddon. Yeah, yeah, that's fancy. What using the Bible, and
Mm-hmm.
another level of mass confusion and whatever that is. I just have to swear. I can't come up with any other words than swearing. And said you did an active protest with others and ate food in the court in a mall. I know. Isn't that amazing how that's a protest?
I know.
Food
I
in a
know.
mall.
I
They had,
know.
they had freaking security guards. You had no passport. It was great. Strength in numbers. Amazing. Yeah. I,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't told this story for a while, and forgive me, Wonnita, if you've heard it too many times, but I was with my friend Grandma Annie, who was alive at the time. She was 91, very strong, powerful woman, also had lived through communism, also knew everything that was going on. But unfortunately, she didn't have the ability to withstand the pressure that people put on her. So she wanted me to drive her to get some Easter bread. And when we got to the door, I said, "I'm sorry, Annie, I can't come in. I'm not masking." She said, "No problem. Wait here." So I see this 91-year-old woman limp towards the door, and I'm like, "Screw that." I ran after her. I put my arm around her. We went in the door, and then the guy's like, "You need a mask on," and I said, "I'm just helping this woman," and we walked past. He was stunned. He'd had no idea how to respond to what I said. And then so everybody at the bakery, they're leering at me, and they're, the I don't know if I need to call them out, but that local organic bakery went full on communism.
Mm-hmm.
They just like unbelievable. They actively hated me. The owner, who used to like be very kind and loving and generous, she turned around and she basically slapped me in my own face, to my face,
Okay.
with words. Not at that time, because why? I was with Grandma Annie. They loved Grandma Annie, who could do no wrong in their eyes. So
Mm-hmm.
there I was, arm in arm with her. They wanted to hate on me, but they couldn't, because there's Grandma Annie. So I get my little like get out of jail free card because I'm with her. We sit down. She gives me a big chunk of Easter bread. I promptly choke on it. And I start hacking and coughing,
Oh
and
no.
fluids are spewing from my eyes and my mouth, and I can't stop coughing. And everybody's looking like I'm the only unmasked person in this entire place, and they're all looking at me like I have the plague. It's not funny. It was so orchestrated by the divine, to have this
Mm-hmm.
immense humor enter into the
Right.
just crying myself. And he's sitting there, "Well, you should have a drink of water or something." It's like, "No, I'm joking. I'm almost dying."
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It's just so comical.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So good on
Funny.
you. Yeah. And
Mhm.
welcome, Jillian. Nice to have you here. Glad you caught us live as well. And just see if I'm missing anything more. And yeah, you still feel traumatized, Kelly. That's why we thought to do this, to, in a way, bring it back to the surface. Because if things remain unconscious, then they only affect you from the unconscious, meaning you're not aware of what is even driving you.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know if it's something you want to talk about, Anita, yourself. You have a lot of experience with that.
Well, just, in my experience and in the work that I do, when something comes up inside of you, whether it's a fear or anxiety or whatever, in that present moment, if you can just be present to it, if you can allow it and just let it come up, you have the opportunity to just let it go. So my teacher said, you're the queen of your castle. When shit comes up, you can either let it go or you can shove it back down. But the practice of meditation and many years of just going inside and seeing things. It's not to downplay trauma, because it's horrific, but there are certainly ways that we can overcome and let things go. And for sure, when things come up for me, then I do look at them. And if I'm ready to let them go, I do. And if not, we just shove them back into the subconscious, and they come back at another time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They won't miss you if you let them go. But and timing is everything on that stuff. So yeah. We speak exactly the same language around that. That's beautiful. Hello, Mr. JJ Hempcrete Bear. I'm so glad you're here. And Jackie K said that's how hypnosis works. So much confusion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been hypnotized, Wonnita?
Well, to the best of my understanding, I'm a person who doesn't easily get hypnotized. So I've had people try and it didn't work. So I don't know why that is, but.
That's what I started realizing, is that most of my friends can't be hypnotized. And I think there's 20% of the population, maybe less, who knows, on that number, that it can't be. And so, yeah, those are interesting people, because you can't just wave a little wand or a little thing and la la la.
Yeah, I've been asked to leave the stage during
I remember that.
a hypnotist was. People were all doing things, and I'm thinking, oh, like, is that real? Are they really hypnotized, or are they just faking? Faking being a chicken or whatever. Anyway, so then he just came to me and said, "You can leave." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I guess he didn't want me on his stage.
There you go.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But I have worked with I have done a lot of work with oh my gosh, my mind's gone blank. It's not I'll come back to it. Sorry.
That's okay.
Can't
Like
think what I was going to say.
or something like that. Or
It's
hypnotherapy.
Yeah, hypnotherapy and stuff like that. From oh my goodness. Oh well, sorry, can't think of it. Yeah,
that's okay. No worries. It happens to me all the time. Ask the chat. I literally ask the chat, what was I just talking about?
Right? Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Part of it being live also.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit nervous, but that's okay. And didn't have a great sleep, so sometimes I find when I don't have a great sleep, it's hard to bring things up in the moment.
For sure. Yeah, get it. And was saying family member just went off to the hospital. Sorry to hear, diagnosed with pneumonia, and they wanted him to wear a mask. Not joking. He was suffocating. Oh my good God. And then the programs came up. You ripped off the program. Excellent. Or you ripped the mask off. Maybe that's not maybe both.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel so fortunate I didn't have to go into the medical system, or did I block it out of my mind? My parents passed before the pandemic, so I didn't have to deal with that. Yeah. I swear that's divine intervention on the timing. It would have been absolutely hellish.
Yeah, I had gone to an osteopath during that time, and he was very good, but I had to wear a mask. And at one point he said to me, take a big deep breath. And I'm like, from where do you expect me to get the air? You have me masked. So I'm going to suck the mask in if I take a really big deep breath. At any rate, I didn't go back to see him because that just seems so ridiculous. Like I didn't agree with anything, but I was doing the things that I had to do to move within, society at that time. And when I went to see him, I just did fully expect that when I was in his operatory, just the two of us, that I wouldn't be required to wear the mask. And I was. So anyway, that was just, to me, that was like, seriously, you're telling me to take a really big breath and have a mask on? How am I supposed to do that?
The most distracting thing is, if this is my mask, I just have my little cleaning cloth here, and then you see it.
Right.
It says, that you watch people trying to breathe through it, and I literally won't hear anything they say at all. Just
I know.
Struggle against the cloth. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
A few more comments here I'll read. Is that welcome Nova 4005. You said, good point. People who say they aren't afraid of death usually haven't come close to death themselves. This is a very big point.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a day that goes by someone doesn't tell me that they don't fear dying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a, it's not for me to run after anybody and tell them they're afraid to die. That's not, that doesn't have any good impact either.
Yeah.
But it is one of the biggest lies,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
absolutely biggest lies. If we speak Gurdjieff's language now, he's all about, that we're machines telling lies all day long.
Right. Well, there's definitely some truth to that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
the death is the big one. It's the big one because it's like the elephant in the room, isn't it? Because at some point we're all going to have to face it, and we have to do it alone. I mean, alone to a degree. You can have your loved ones around, and obviously, if you if you have your guides and your spirits and your masters that you've studied with, I do believe that they will join you if you ask at death. But we don't know for sure on this side of the veil. We're not completely positive. We've heard from people who have had near death experiences. Um, so yeah, I guess we'll all get to see at some point.
Exactly. Yeah, literally nothing could be said conclusively on that subject. And yeah, it's definitely a real thing, and it's a superpower to get more and more comfortable. It's like you were saying earlier, that when you allow those feelings, the worst possible feelings, to
Mm-hmm.
move through your actual awareness, then you get to see once, twice, 100 times, 1,000 times, 100,000 times, that it holds no authority over you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And how trapped humanity is in their inner experiences. And then, maybe a couple hours later, something's going to happen that scares the crap out of me, and all my feelings are going to come up, and I'm going to go like, ah. It's humbling constantly.
It is. It is very humbling. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little thing with my landlord going on. He wants to charge me more rent. Why? Because he has no reason, right?
Right.
And I think I complained to you about this already. And I don't want to go head to head with the guy. And I can be a very, good negotiator, and I can be tenacious and enter into those things. But I don't want acrimony with him. I don't want a negative relationship. He's
Mm-hmm.
a very good person. We've had a very good relationship, long term
Mm-hmm.
now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still not right. So all of this fear of dying came up in me last night, just contemplating
Right.
responding, because now he's making messages with exclamation marks, and it's setting
Yeah.
off all the fire alarm. So I
Mm-hmm.
sat down just with some discipline and wrote out a very thorough letter without any attacks on him, just stating
Mm-hmm.
some facts. I think I have a list of, I don't know, 25 or 30 things around here that don't work, and are not worthy of more money, that it's not even up to par, never mind
Mm-hmm.
improving anything.
Right. Yeah.
And so that was just to say, I actually had to go through my fear of dying to write an email to my landlord.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's how these things pick up from
Yeah.
past traumas.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think too that we are individual, but we're collective as well. So the collective consciousness has a fear-based background right now as well. So, sometimes it's not even just your own fear that you're feeling. You're feeling the collective angst, just with things because of social media and because of how connected we are, as far as something happens, in a completely other part of the world, and we hear about it immediately, whether it be, just what happened in Mexico recently. Like, there's just, I do my best to not, I know what's happening, but to stay away from it as much as possible. Send, open my heart, send lots of love to the areas that are in need, and that's pretty much the whole world. But not feed into it, because from my understanding, if I get really pissed off or get really engaged in all of the shenanigans that are going on, then I'm feeding it. So it's like a double-edged sword. Even though I want it to be better, if I'm frustrated and feeding that, in my understanding and what I have learned and what I teach is that we're made of energy, and the energy is all connected. So if I, really get upset about things that are going on, then I'm just feeding that negative energy. So I do my best when I can, and obviously I'm just a person, so it doesn't always work. But I do my best to just open my heart and send love when those things are happening, as opposed to being really frustrated. And maybe I will get really frustrated for, we'll maybe have a conversation that we're just so upset about the crazy things, and then come back to center and realize, and this isn't a Pollyanna. I understand things are going on. I would send a question to everybody here, to really, really put yourself to work and envision what would a more beautiful world look like. Because it doesn't come easy. When you think of that, what does that actually look like? We have so many things that we've learned throughout our life. It's hard to imagine a world where maybe we could be out in the woods and there could be bears and, I don't know, animals that we just all walk in peace. There can be mosquitoes in my garden and they don't bite me.
That'd be nice.
Right. So, any rate, long story, but yeah.
No, I like that. I like that.
Mhm.
It's the first casualty of trauma is the ability to imagine and envision and create a new world for yourself, right? Because you're only troubleshooting that internal storm of emotions and thoughts, and never mind the pressure, like you said, putting into suppressing that actually
Right.
fuels the internal storm, and much more debilitates your ability to hold any kind of vision. Maybe you could think of a vision, but you can't hold it in
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And the way to bring it again is it's through each individual being, as we just become love ourselves, and then it spills out. And there's no such thing as running out of love. You can just give it and give it and give it and give it, and it never runs out.
There you go. Amen to that. Hello, Quietly Content Bear. Nice to see you. And I'm way behind on the chats today. Thanks for chiming in so much. I love it. Kelly said, I didn't realize how the degree to which I was affected into the last several months. The anger and outrage about what they did and tried to do is big. Good for you for allowing it to come up. The longer it goes, the more dissociated from it that it becomes. Like you literally can't even connect it. There was a time I went back, and you know how things went with my family. And there was a scene in particular that came up. I was wanting to write something about it as a creative exercise, actually, after I got injured and I'm trying to like come back into some kind of world. And so I sat and I wrote this scene. We were at our campground. I'd taken my son to this family reunion out of sheer obligation towards my son, which he didn't put on me. I wanted him to have a connection with family, even though things had got really rocky. It was weird. We were in the same campground with people who, my family's all there, but they don't want to see me. They some of them are actively hating on me. There's a lot of talking behind the scenes. I get approached by my aunt, and she says, "Oh, Beth, we had a family meeting, and we decided you guys can come to the family meal tonight, but you can't touch the food." And this became like this, little small pulse. I stuffed it away out of just sort of like trying to get through the day in the moment. We humbly went and we ate food that was brought to us, and it was just it was so incredibly humiliating is what it was in the end, especially that I acquiesced to it and I turned into this little bunny, allowing everything. And so I sat and I wrote. And literally, I would write something. I'd read back at what I wrote. I would bawl my eyes out. I'd write a little bit more. I'd go back and I'd read it, and I'd have to stop and have a big cry again and write more. Like it was just this cry and write, cry and write, cry and write. I thought by the end I had a masterpiece. Well, I went back a few days. It's like, oh no, she barfed on the page. But it was so beautiful in bringing up all of that pain that had been there. So I'm not just left with a like quiet resentment, bitterness. in that
Mm-hmm.
way. I'm
Yeah.
probably still bitter. Do I sound bitter?
No, not really. I think we've talked about this a few times actually. I think that you've done well to move through it.
Thank you. Yes, you're
Yeah.
hearing it from the more than three of us. It's like trauma does. It tells its stories over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think family for sure is the biggest learning curve that we have when we come to Earth. As beings, we love them, and we should love them. They're our families. Not that we should, but they certainly are the ones who push our buttons the most, and that's how we grow, right? So even though it's extremely difficult, it's through that we get to really know ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And Jackie was saying that same with hypnosis and NLP training, no one could hypnotize you either, Jackie. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised to hear that, knowing what I know about her
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and Anne thought there was something wrong with here. We just hadn't found each other.
Yeah.
Lunarverse also can't be hypnotized. See, all the good ones are here.
You're right. We're all the weirdos. I had a reading done recently by this gentleman, and that's what he said. Out of, I don't know, 75,000 people, I was one out of 75,000, and then, which was fine. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And they said, and you're a weirdo. I'm like, oh, I knew attracted interesting people. I wouldn't call them weirdos per se, but but I didn't know I was a weirdo anyway. But that's okay. I don't mind.
Yeah, that's the rebel in us. We don't mind being weirdos.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and Jillian said she had some funny experiences doing things that was not meant to be doing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It brought out it was a real festival for the rebel, meaning there
Hmm.
was lots of opportunities to exercise that, and it really, for me, it showed me the rebel with a cause to next
Mm.
level. I felt like I had come a long way, but then it showed me no, actually, in a lot of ways I hadn't, because I resorted to older rebel ways
Right.
and almost like putting people in a headlock. There literally wasn't a person on the street or in the park or something. I would stop them to talk about what was going on as an activist, like literally bring
Hmm.
it into a conversation and try to change their minds. And like I just resorted to all kinds of old strategies that never did
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember doing that for a while. Really, just people that I was closer with, just really telling them everything that I felt I knew. Was my opinion anyway, and uh, it just stunned at the people who had such a different opinion and outlook. And I just didn't see it coming. I didn't realize, especially with just certain people, I just felt that they would be on the same page. And another thing that was very interesting for me, kind of devastating, but interesting, were the spiritual gurus who went along with the narrative of the time. And it was like, oh my gracious, like this is heartbreaking. And continues to be. And I don't overly believe things that are on social media, but as I look about and see things coming up and out, it's just like wowzers. That's a lot to handle, a lot to manage.
Yeah, that was profoundly disillusioning. To find some of my heroes, Carol and Miss, all phased out, and some recent news about Deepak, who I
Mm-hmm.
never did hold in that high, even though I liked him for a time. I was
Yeah,
lucky enough to work with
his
him a
books were
little bit.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah, his books were nice. They
yeah,
still would read nice. If I
yeah.
picked it up right now, it would still read well.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him. We actually did a couple of events with him in
Okay.
Toronto and here
Yeah.
in Winnipeg, and he was good, but his sister was evil, who was
Oh,
there as his kind of counterpart and
sure.
mentoring him,
Mm-hmm.
being a watchdog, and she was scary. I was literally
Okay.
frightened by her.
Okay. Well, then she must have been scary.
Yeah, yeah, and it also reflects on him because he gets to be the good cop, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
He's nice to
Mm-hmm.
everybody, the yes guy. She was the
Right.
no person, and
Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that was madness to see. I,
Mm-hmm.
I would keep I would keep going back to a few of them just to check in. Like, did they get it yet? Did they get it yet?
Right.
Are they
Right. Yeah.
waking
Yeah.
up? Is there any sign of any
Yeah.
kind? Just really shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And just wanted to clarify for the record, if I read it wrong, but that happened to your family member 2 days ago, and yes, you ripped off their mask, received major trouble from that. You were not disturbed. Just to be clear, it was your want for control. Got it. Very brave, Anne. That's amazing. Yeah, way to go. I'd want you at my side if I was in trouble in the hospital. You see random people wearing masks alone in their vehicles with the windows up. Yeah. That part,
Yeah.
I know. I never have got past the knee-jerk judgment of that. I just have not preempted how about yourself, Wonnita?
Well, I think I'd feel a lot of empathy for that. To be honest, I'm just like, oh my gracious, like we're almost living on a different plane of existence. Our life is just
Yeah.
we're healthy, we're happy, we're doing things, and then you still have people who are worried about getting the measles and doing things like that. And I'm just like, oh. So in the beginning, I was frustrated and angry. I'm like, how could it's stupid. I guess people are dead. They don't know they're dead. People are stupid. They don't know they're stupid. I was saying things like that because I was so upset. But now I just feel a lot of compassion and empathy when I see that. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're just existing in a different world than I exist in, because I'm not worried about, something jumping into my body and making me sick. So anyway, so then, so that's that I feel more that way now when I look around and see that, or I might smile, which is a bit rude, but I might just like, oh my goodness, really?
Yeah, good for you. That's amazing. That's a high road. And Jillian said, I tried to help a friend doing their hypnotherapy training. I was useless. It didn't work on you. Excellent. So all the good ones here. Yeah, because we're hypercritical. We're paying attention. I guess you have to maybe not pay attention. And Jillian also said she knows she doesn't fear death. So, okay, we won't argue with you. And you've been with both parents and your son. And that's beautiful, right? To say that out of knowledge rather than ignorance, right? That having sat at the deathbed, most people find some way to not be around. Or even if they're around, they find a way to distance themselves in the situation. Like I had my partner at the time come and visit me in the hospital when I was receiving treatments. It was when I was told after a second diagnosis I was likely not to survive. So he comes to keep me company in the hospital, and he sat like this behind a newspaper the whole entire time. And it's like he just couldn't. That was as close as he could. He could get himself in the building. He could park. He could come to the place. He could sit in the chair. But that was it. It was over for his capacity at that time. So that's where a lot of people are. Yeah. And I think I'm going to go down to there's so much input today. It's so fun. I love that. And forgive me. Oh, Elisa said, Wonnita, if you're a weirdo, then she's in.
Okay. Yay. Sounds good.
And Anne said, thank you for saying that about family. Yep. Yeah, it's so true. And now there's some barfed on a page, and maybe it was vitamin A related, Elisa said. Yeah, we've got a really good community around here knowing about vitamin A. And please go and stick your finger in everything at the buffet. I might have missed what you guys are talking about there. So, okay, here's a story from Elisa. She said that she went to her local coffee shop that she never really liked and didn't go often, and reading the huge bulletin board brought tears to her eyes with the love and potential in the community. Amazing. Did I miss the first part of that too? And thank me for sharing the example with my landlord. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. That's part of the aim here, is to make all of these experiences relatable so that people can see we've all gone through these things, that it's not entirely unique, that we have shared experiences, we have shared traumas. And that's not to trauma bond, because that's part of what happened, right? The trauma bonding was off the charts.
Right.
Yeah. And then, so you're one of my few enduring friendships of this whole time that I can count on one hand. The rest of them were much more about trauma bonding. And so you end up kind of glued to people with nothing in common except the manufactured, like, you should
Right.
hate the government, you should hate the system, you should, like, that was our only point of unification, or our fear was where we were unifying.
Mhm.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, similar to what you're saying with you and I. What I think is really cool is we've agreed to disagree if we need to. It doesn't even matter. Like, we're just beautiful friends and we love each other, and I love that. We don't necessarily have exactly the same training or ideas or opinions, and it doesn't matter. I love you. You're my friend, and that's just, to me, that's just very powerful. And I mean, we're certainly similar, and especially about the topic that we're talking about today. You know, we that's where we really became close friends. But on the whole, you allow me to be me, and I love that, and I allow you to be you.
And I love
So, you
that.
know, that's I think our superpower as friends.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
I thought about that exact thing last night about, it's inevitable. You get to know anybody well enough, and you're not going to match with them on every single.
Yeah,
It's just a fact.
yeah.
But I think it's in our values
Hmm.
that we really meet and match up. And it's like, I want to say higher, like higher level. It's not the details. It's not the, like, for example, I went through my Christian phase during the pandemic, and you had already been through a Christian phase and
Hmm.
came out the other
Hmm.
side. So you patiently, were there with me, and you didn't turn away from me, and you didn't smash me or put me down in any way, but neither were you at that place.
Hmm. Hmm.
You were just compassionate, allowing me to go through it.
Hmm. Well, but then there were areas that you were really strong as well that I wasn't. So, like, that's, that's what makes friendship so beautiful, right? It masks as an example when we were going places, like, you would just march in, and I'd kind of go behind you a little bit, and I wasn't um, as solid on that as you were. I knew I didn't believe in them and so on and so forth, but
Mhm.
sometimes I just needed groceries or whatever. And I had been kicked out of places, and sometimes I got sick of that. And then I just did what I had to do to do what I needed. And you always, you didn't. And I liked that. Like, it was, it was funny. Sometimes it was just funny to go with you. And I'm saying funny. It was adventurous,
Yeah.
and it could be shocking, but we always laughed after too.
Mhm, mhm.
When,
Exactly.
going through Costco when we weren't allowed to, and you take your mask off, and somebody comes over and, natters at you, and anyway, so we had some pretty fun experiences doing stuff like that as well. So, mhm.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was full of adventure in that way. In a way, it was very awareness heightening,
Yes.
because it wasn't in our new normal. It wasn't normal, and that does,
Right.
that's actually, in a way, could you say, a plus side of it being so traumatic is that it
Hmm.
does send you potentially into hyper awareness. Now, hyper vigilance is not a good way to be. That's
Yeah.
for sure going to burn out over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were really aware.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I think we became more present, right, Beth? Like, we were, so
right.
in my language, because it's meditation, like, we were more present in the moment, because when we walked in, we intentionally did the things we did, whether I was masked and you weren't, as we went into Costco one day. This is one thing that I remember.
Mhm.
But we were very present to what the experiences would be. And I think that when you bring presence into the moment, there's more love and more understanding, even if it's a situation that's difficult.
Exactly, and that's such a beautiful point about love, that when it didn't work for me to be a rebel without a cause and get, more like angry and fighty, then I turned to love.
Hmm.
And that's what and I have to admit, it was kind of a weapon. Someone would go like, "Put your feet on the stickers," and I would go, "I love you," like this,
Yeah.
or like, "Oh, you need a mask for the store," and I'd be, "I love you so much," and they would just be stunned for fast enough that I could get by them and go and get my groceries, and I'd be
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
way out the door telling them I love them again.
I remember you doing that actually.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's
Mhm,
kind of shocking to them. They don't
mhm,
expect
mhm.
that. Yeah, it's easier to deal with a fighter.
Yeah, yeah, it is for sure. Yeah. Mhm,
Yeah, yeah. Let's see if there's some more good comments going on here.
mhm.
Jillian was talking about you're finding that days showing up like that now today, and I were chatting about that today, and both of us referencing Lou Reed's "It's Such a Perfect Day." Both of us were feeling that today. Okay, sorry, I apologize. I just mangled that probably from before. Okay, I'm going to the end now, you guys. If you said anything that you want me to catch, please repeat it. Let's see. Laughter is your favorite medicine. I know exactly. I was actually hearing Gurdjieff talk about laughing and what was the other thing? Two. I'm not going to catch it. It's really really thick.
He was
Laugh.
big into dancing, wasn't he? I think he
Yeah.
was. Yeah, yeah. He
Movement.
had.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Movement. And I found his music. He's got compositions with another piano player. I think he took from the story I read. He took melodies to this composer who helped
Okay.
him actually fill in the blanks. It's very interesting. What I was looking for, what I was watching for, just to quickly jump topics, is the emotionality of it.
Mm,
I've been listening to a lot of classical recently because I'm writing and I can't listen to words and I don't like new age stuff. So I just turn back to some of the things I was actually brought up with. And the emotionality is off the charts.
mhm.
It's up and it's down and it's around and it's like and back in a different mood and this mood and that mood and up and around. And in a way, it's when I saw Amadeus recently too, I concluded that there's a lot of alcohol in that culture,
Okay.
and emotions tend to flow much more freely when there's alcohol, right? Like the
Right.
batteries come
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
And just seeing the emotional influence in the arts and the music is such a central point. Actually, Micah and I are going to be doing a podcast, either private in the House of Free Will or maybe out here as well, on that exact quality of manipulating people's emotions through the media.
Right.
Right. Like literally you didn't have an emotion, you didn't have a feeling, you didn't have a thought, you
Mhm.
didn't have a program, maybe, or you probably have the programs already, and then there it is. They can literally that was Disney's big discovery. They could make you cry with a cartoon.
Right. Right. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So I can't
Mhm.
remember what Gurdjieff said
Yeah.
about laughter, but
Yeah.
yeah. Jillian said she's loving the conversation. I'm so glad, especially the connection in the chat. Yeah, good for you guys. Sometimes that happens where the chat has a life of its own, and that's so fine. And Luniverse said that the CV definitely brought incompatible people together who wouldn't otherwise be friends. He made a group of friends and have broken away as they weren't enduring loving friends. Exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
trauma bonds, they don't last.
Mhm. Mhm.
They're just what they are. They're kind of a lie, actually. Yeah, how many relationships are based on that?
Mhm.
Elisa said, "You're outside of Boston. You should have married for citizenship years ago. You're so fortunate to live out there with all the architecture and culture." Maybe talking to somebody here. Yeah, I'm looking for a husband in the US, just so you guys know. I'll say that out
Yeah.
loud.
Uh, that's
And to
hilarious.
adopt Liam as well. Yeah.
Well, that's
Michelle.
both of us then. I don't know if he has to be American, but we're both looking for husbands, are we not?
Okay, yes, okay, all right. Yeah, 2 for 1, anybody?
Yeah, I think that would be a handful. They'll be
Yeah,
good to manage either one of or the other of us, for sure.
exactly, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, let's see if there's any other topics that you guys want us to speak about or particular or stories you wanna share, or Wonnita, if there's anything, um, like one of the things maybe we talked a little bit about already was around public shaming and being for the first time in my life, I was the one that was being publicly called out
Right.
on the news every single night. like unmistakably, whether it was from some scary man in a grocery store who follows me to the parking lot and shakes his fist in the window of my car, or this sanctioned campaign against us, right? And we were the fringe minority in the
Right.
right, and it's easy to believe that because shame is an emotion that it's so consuming.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody has that, it's so easy to suppress, and you become incredibly controllable in the process. So is there anything you want to say about that?
I had similar experiences to what you were talking about. In the apartment that I lived in at the time, we had to go through security to get in. And I remember this older gentleman ran in ahead of me, let the door slam in my face. And then I went in behind him, and he's walking ahead of me, and he's apologizing to me as he's walking ahead of me. And I just said to him, well, I guess you're scared, aren't you? So I said, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. But a lot of, so I would say he probably didn't feel very masculine in that situation. And I was just thinking, when you were talking about shame, the difference between shame and guilt, like shame says I'm bad, right? Guilt says I've done something bad, and shame says I'm bad. So, those were just a couple things that came up when you were speaking there, that when we were being shamed for possibly causing, something that wasn't even real. One of my biggest pet peeves, I guess, around all of the medical things is asymptomatic. Asymptomatic. You're not sick. You don't have anything. But something is inside of you, and it's jumping out of you and jumping into somebody else and making them sick. Can you speak about that at all?
Yeah, that's again, for people who can't be hypnotized, that's a really hard one. Like, you have no symptoms, but you're going to infect somebody, and how does that work? I remember taking my aunt to task as a doctor. Like, so the virus goes on the you cough on the cardboard, it goes on the cardboard, and then it jumps on the other person from the cardboard as long as you're within 6 feet. It's a jumper.
Right. It's a jumper.
And she's like, oh, and she couldn't answer. Like, there's no good answer at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was just madness. And the shame and the guilt, I feel like there's, in a way, it's like the child version is the shame, the guilt is more of a grown-up version. And so the child has no discrimination. The
Mm-hmm.
child, if they're being told you're bad and wrong, then their only defense is to say, I'm bad and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's the desperate measure of programming right there. But if you say that, you wag your finger in an adult's face and say you're bad and wrong, then they might not take on the identity of it, but they'll go, like, to me, guilt is actually a form of pride,
Mm-hmm.
a much higher emotion on the scale than down in
Then shame.
shame, which could be apathy and grief as a mix,
Mm-hmm.
depending on who's having it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but guilt is just as big a trap as the shame, because it's hidden from ourselves. It might be easier to see other emotions like grief and fear and lust and anger, but
Yes.
once there's pride, then it's only visible to other people.
Right. Yeah. Pride is, and pride is sticky too.
Exactly, because you feel
Mm-hmm.
all right in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of damage can get done. I definitely had that disposition of pride, that I was better. I don't think I ever picked up the word, but like, they had the words masked and all of a sudden there was dehumanizing names for the people that complied. And
Right.
that's when I started to see, because I was doing that internally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm smart enough not to speak like that,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just self-censorship. And I had to be honest with myself that, yeah, I'm literally dehumanizing these people
Right.
for making other they're bad choices. I
Right.
can't even couch that. They're not other choices. They were wrong. They were dead wrong. But to use the weapon of pride against them, that's not justified.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Now, there was a lot going on in that time frame. A lot of emotions coming up, a lot of just a lot of things going on that would put you in a more prideful state within your own little groups, right? Yeah.
Well, exactly. And you said it, because the function of pride is to separate you from others. That's exactly what it does. Oh, I'm not you. I don't wear a mask. I don't jab. I'm not retarded like you are, or whatever. That kind of thing is, and yet you're over there. I'm over here. You need work. I'm good. I'm already good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going backwards in the chat now, and meaning I'm at the beginning. Heather said, I was verbally assaulted by a customer, and about faced your cart, asked him to repeat what he said from behind his mask. When he remained silent, I proceeded to say, I know you've got coward 19 and we're not going to take it. Oh, good for you, Heather. Are you local, by the way? We should meet. And Jillian said, I love too many folks who believed it all. Yeah. So you never went against them. They were loving towards you. So it was
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. And I think that's really important too. Like that's beautiful, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I personally, I burned the bridge by being vocal and public about my feelings. So there was no going back from that, to try to just go along and get along. And I don't know if I feel like things should have gone any differently than they did now. I don't know. And said it was wild with your dad. He told you were being disrespectful by not wearing a mask in his home or complying, just kept telling you that you were disrespectful, tried to shame you on steroids. Wow. Yeah. Sorry when you went through that.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say that within the families, I think that fear, I think a lot of the shaming and guilt that came from our families, where they were fearful for us because they truly believed what they believed, and we truly believe what we believe. And I think that a lot of, especially in our close families, were literally fearful for us and did everything they could to have us, come on board with what they believed to be true. It was very interesting.
Yeah, that could have been one of the aspects. I never felt like anybody. I know what that feels like when somebody's scared for me. And you can see there's maybe a kind of seed of love of some kind in there, even though it's not having the right effect. It won't have the right effect. But for me, it was different. It was that finger. It was the judgment. It was the anger. It was the cousin that said, "I hope you die of COVID."
Goodness. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like an actual death wish. I had another one say, I hope that when you go for healthcare, they refuse you.
Yeah, I think I might have had some people say something similar to that, but not my family. But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No,
that's not. I mean, maybe he's afraid for me too, but there's, it's coming out with the weapons of pride for the most part.
Yeah.
Kelly said, you haven't been able to recover your social life since the Plan D. And you should come in the House of Free Will. Kelly, if you haven't applied yet, then I would love to host you as a member. Looks like there's a link in the show notes for this one. Sorry, were you going to say something, Wonnita?
Nope, I'm just listening. Yep.
Hello, Annie D. Nice to have you here. You tried to tell hospice nurses your breath is your spirit, and I wanted to rip it off. Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah. All of that craziness around public shaming. Kelly said you were shunned from groups that were a big part of your social life and joy. It was so disheartening to see people could be fooled and rejected others for the sake of the narrative. Yeah. It's had some pretty lasting effects, I have to say. And the division was not just with people who didn't jab and didn't mask and knew the virus was a boogeyman and all that kind of stuff. It was with those people. There was the continuing divide, maybe also from the trauma bonding or There also came a point where it seemed like people just only wanted to go so far, that they liked a certain kind of truth. They liked the truth of knowing that Klaus Schwab was an evil Satanist, or that, they liked those kind of truth. They liked that the truth that the lines in the sky are not contrails, they're chemtrails. But when it came to even deeper truths about them and the lies that they're telling, honestly, that's what inspired me to even do anything in the truth and freedom movement at all, because I saw if they could get helped, then that would be so much more advantageous to the freedom movement, right? That, because I saw they're just as stuck in a totally different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, easy to have the illusion of other things. So, and he said she only wore a hospital to see your non-CV infected dying loved ones. Sorry to hear you went through that. And let's see, got a mild threat from a nurse in an ER. They wouldn't let you into the main hospital with your paper thin scarf you used as a mask prop. Yeah. I think there were a few props we used too. There was one of my friends had made a mask out of, when you buy lemons and they have that mesh bag.
Oh.
He made his mask out of that when I was able to get by with that sometimes. And Chris, welcome. Nice to have you here. You're 64. You're 64 years old, financially unstable, dealing with cancer, lives with your mother. So yeah, you're pretty much the whole package. Okay, I think that's a conversation we missed there. All right, I'm going back to the end again, not the beginning. And said it's been insanely helpful. You're very welcome. Glad you tuned in. Universe said an acquaintance of mine said that people who didn't take the job should go to the, what does that say? Gaol? Jail? Something like that? Should go to probably jail. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, were you there at the protest that we were at? And we were walking on Osborne Street, and we're, trucking along with whatever signs. I don't know if I had a sign or not. And there was a car literally drove into the crowd.
I remember that. I wasn't there, but I did see it. Yeah.
Right. And they were screaming at us. Those are the ones that said, "I hope you die of this CV virus." Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. At one of the protests that I did go to with a friend, we ended up on the front page of the newspaper, and my friend lost his job. They fired
Because
him.
of it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Was that our mutual friend?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was fairly interesting as well. But
Yeah, prices to pay. I remember showing up at one of the rallies at the Forks, and then I looked up. They strategically have the stage so that there's a parkade, and there was the SWAT team sitting there, like with their rifles all pointed
ready
at us. They also had all the cameras, of course, getting all the facial recognition stuff set up. Yeah, it's creepy as all heck.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So, well, this is interesting. We're getting some actual criticism here that this is not productive in any way for you to discover what went wrong. You'd rather talk and hear about what went right. You got to shed people who were not able to know the truth. You got to enjoy new folks who now have been your dream come true. It's not about allowing those who did not matter or drop importance. Yeah, so we got the contrast there. This has been insanely helpful and not productive in any way. But I don't think you and I are against getting positive about the subject either.
I think we just decided to come along and just chat. We had thought it would be fun to just kind of rehash what had happened and see where we are now. So I think when we decided to do this podcast, when you invited me, we just thought as two friends it would be fun to just go back over things and see where we're at now. So
totally. And it's actually not true, Chrissy, that we're only talking about that. Here's Wonnita talking about how she has compassion and love for people now, even though they're doing the stupidest thing in the world, masking alone in a car. And so to me, that's extremely positive, right? To overcome something that is that is actually stupid, and it's dangerous too, because they're driving, and that's not the best way to have awareness.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
So yeah,
mhm.
and to me, the ultimate solutions are, we talked about at the very beginning, the fear of dying, the
Right.
allowing things to actually come up to your awareness to
Mhm,
feel them. Because
mhm.
you can also use positivity. That's where the phrase toxic positivity came in.
Right.
So you would only pay attention to the positive things. Oh, yes, I lost all my friends and my family, but I made some other good friends.
Mhm,
This is true, but the two don't cancel.
mhm,
That's
mhm,
denial.
mhm. And I think as well, Beth, that what we've experienced is we've experienced the coming face to face with the shadow, right? So that whole event, brought up the shadow, and many people, like we were all just doing life. We had 9/11, which was a big thing, and then we just kind of went back to life, to normal, and then this brought us awake again. And I feel like in the world, there's so much happening in the world, across the world, that just, from um, um, the extremely wealthy to the extremely poor and everything in between. And so each time an event like this happens, then I think that we are forced to look at our own shadow, because we are the collective consciousness, in my understanding. And when we look at it from that perspective, we've come through a lot, and I do feel that en masse, many people have just gone deeper inside, and to your point, looked at our own shame and guilt, and the things that the lies that we're telling ourselves and each other, and all of those things, which is just part of the human experience. So anyway, I feel for myself personally that I have definitely deepened and widened what I had already learned. So um, it's just deeper. So it's not, it was, I always, or for a long time, was learning and learning and feeling good and happy and positive, like you said. And then it was like, whoa, goodness, let me, slow down here. There's more going on than you can't just meditate your way out of this, so to speak.
Right.
Although I love meditating and it's amazing, and I would, suggest it to anybody, and I certainly would be happy to help you if that's something that you need. But it's that and more. How, again, like we said earlier, how are we going to create the world that we want for our children and grandchildren? And we stand at a place where we're between stories. The old story of what we told ourselves isn't working, and we know it's just, it's falling apart. Our systems are falling apart, and the new story hasn't been created. So I think Charles Eisenstein talks about this a lot. He says we're between stories right now. And so that's kind of when we do a podcast like this, that comes up for me, that we're talking about the old things that happened. We're looking at, where are we now, and what are the next 10 years going to look like?
Exactly. That's beautiful. I love all of that, what you said. And yeah, we can't love and light our way through this. It's not how it is. It's
Mhm.
been fantastic to look at Gurdjieff's work again, because he's much more intense. He's got a very
Mm.
masculine approach. He's into shocking people. He's
Mhm.
into giving people hardship. Not against their will. Again, you can't chase. He knew very well, if someone didn't choose it, there was no point in trying to
Mhm.
work with them. Even
Right.
when they did choose it, sometimes there was no point for him.
Mhm. Mhm.
But he's a harsh teacher. He's going to put things in your face. He's just going to tell you outright. I have a different style. I bet you also have a much softer, loving kind of style
Yeah.
in your teaching.
Mhm.
But that's the fact. We are between stories, and so if we don't take the time to unravel the story that is, and allow it to take us. This is from Lester Levinson. He would say,
Mm.
use everything for freedom.
Mhm.
So you got damaged, you got victimized, you got schmucked, you got shamed, you got segregated, you got separated, you got abandoned by the culture, by your family, by all of that kind of thing. And then what you said, it's like, what does that reflect in me? Not to say like, oh, I'm the perpetrator. I'm
No, of
something like
course.
it. You know,
Yeah.
that's to me way oversimplified in the
Sure.
spiritual world. If you
Yeah,
see it,
yeah, yeah.
it that can be true, but it's so powerful to see. Like, what is the thing that is triggering me
Hmm.
about it? And to brave that, because most people think, well, I care because I'm triggered, and
Right.
that's not true.
Hmm.
That's not caring at all.
Hmm.
That's just being drunk on your emotions.
Hmm.
So if you're able to use these stories and be between the story in a way that you can be in that discomfort
Hmm.
where there's
Hmm.
no certainty, where we're still in a state of unraveling, although, it's never too soon for visioning and
Yeah.
articulating and imagining and holding in mind, like you've said several times, the what is the world we're creating for our children
Right.
and their
Hmm.
children.
Hmm. Hmm.
Thinking.
And
Mhm, go ahead.
yeah, and how did we end up here, right? How did we end up where we are now? We've had, like, we've all had a part in it. I can look back from being a young woman and women's lib and all of those things, how I bought into those stories back then, and, get out and get to work and not stay home with my children, where when I was very young and married and had two little children, I could have stayed home. I don't think many people today have that luxury the way that I would have. But, we were told, I so remember we were told that, if I just stay home with my children and take care of my family, that when I'm in my 40s, my husband's likely going to leave me for a younger woman, and I'm going to end up with no career, no money, no husband. At any rate. And, so women went out into the workforce en masse, because I'm, close to 70. So if we look at when I was in my 20s, that's sort of when all of that stuff started to happen. So again, when we look at where we're at, we have a large part in how that unfolded, and so we still have a lot to say. I'm at the understanding, and I truly believe that we have a lot to say. Well, not say is not quite the right way to put it, but we are creating, like, the book is not written yet as to how this is all going to unfold. So the more that we have discussions like this, and the more that we just become present and get to know ourselves, and just really envision peace on earth, peace for all beings.
Amen.
Anyway, yeah.
Jillian, can't believe you're nearly 70. I know. Doesn't she look amazing? Like,
Thank
really
you.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Very good. Thanks for the thumbs up. And Jackie K. Yeah. Could we talk more about in between?
Mm-hmm.
That,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. That liminal place that is neither here nor there. And
Yeah.
uh, very much like the cocoon and worm goo is the phrase that comes to mind. You're
Yeah. Yeah.
totally unformed. Yeah.
Use your imagination. Your imagination is your superpower. It truly is. What we imagine is not different from what we consider to be reality. In fact, the only way, if you think of anything on earth, somebody had to imagine it for it to be created. So that's how powerful we are. That, we have the ability to create this beautiful world. I mean, it's not that simple. It's not just a matter of, we're all going to sit here and dream something and it's going to boom be here. But that is how we bring from the unmanifest energy into the manifest world, is by dreaming and imagining and opening our hearts, and doing it with love and vision, and just what makes your heart smile, what makes you come alive. That's what the world needs. That's I just love that. I just would spend as much time as I possibly can just trying to envision what is a more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. And we can feel it in our heart. We know that there's a potential to live differently than what we're experiencing, and maybe maybe things have to crash more before we can create new. But I will take with me in this lifetime that we can that we have the ability to create something really beautiful. And that's in between stories, because the story that I had when I was young, as they say, get a job, we get married, have a few children, have a home, go on a vacation. There you are. And that's all falling apart. And what is that beautiful world going to look like for our children? And certainly we want wars to stop. We want poverty to stop. We want freedom. We want everybody to have the basics, and not in a controlled communist way, but in a beautiful. I mean, if you imagine, the earth gives us everything. Food is free. You throw seeds in the ground and you get food, but we don't even know how to do that anymore. There's just so many things that we can take back, I think, and just sit with your heart open and imagine. And I think that's in between the stories. That's sort of some of that belongs there.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. I was writing about the imagination yesterday for the course that I'm doing in creating, in particular on this subject for people that were struggling to vision after everything had really come unraveled, and here we are between stories. It's very much the child archetype. It's the beginning. It's being at the beginning again. That's a difficult experience for grown adults to go back and literally feel like you're starting over. That can be particularly hard for those that have been very well accomplished and done a lot, put a lot out there in the world. And then here you find yourself between stories, between paradigms. I see people come to all kinds of subjects these days. And it's exactly what happens, with Garrett's work, for example, that there are many people, like all the time, they're like, oh, I've been watching for 2 years, or I've been tuning in, or I caught these 3 videos and I've been wrestling with it, and I came to this place, and the state that they're coming is the child. It's that humble place. It's not full of arguments and full of trying to poke holes and be in resistance to it. They already got themselves to the between the worlds. So their old world, they know, doesn't work. Now they can see that for what it actually is, and then they humble themselves to new knowledge, in this case, new awareness, a new perspective of what's happening in their own body.
And it's difficult too, because we're so conditioned. Like even those of us who are rebellious and who have studied and who are doing our best to take a lead role, we're still programmed. Like when if I hear things, I don't know what would be a great example, maybe of aliens, or I don't know what, I just have to really, I'm attempting to be in that space where I'm just open and catch my resistance as it comes up, and just say, well, I don't know exactly about that particular topic, so why don't I just be open, and not in a in a silly way that you let anything in, because I do ask all of my the masters that I study with and all of that, God and everything, to keep me in alignment and put a protection around me as well, so that I'm not silly innocent, but at the same time to be open to things that I'm not familiar with, that I feel a resistance toward from the conditioning that I've had up to now, right? So anyway, it's interesting. So life is both at this point. There's so much going on that you're just like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I signed up for this, and to it's exciting as well, because the old paradigms are shattering and the old systems are breaking down, and many beings and people on earth are, looking that we can't have children starving, over here, and we have obese children over here. We're one being, we're one consciousness, we're one energy. So to find a way that all the way across, it's better for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. And one last thing I'll say about the imagination is that it really is working for you and your freedom, but that's not obvious, because the imagination is full of things that it doesn't want.
Right, as well.
that it's trying to prevent the bad thing that's going to happen. I go back and I look at some of the decisions that I made over the pandemic, and they seemed right at the time, but looking back, it's like I was running scared. I did something. Yeah, I think, did everybody do something kind of big? Make a change or a big purchase or something that you look back and you go, yeah, that was fear. That was totally fear. Good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so it's a different relationship with your imagination. That yes, it will definitely create the future. It will absolutely, but if it's bogged down in all of the traumas, it's going to bring those up. And this is good. You want that back to the same point. If it doesn't come up, there's no way to actually heal.
Right. Well, because it's working in you, consciously and subconscious or super conscious, just words. People have different ideas about different words, but I'll just use subconscious because that's a word that I'm used to. So apparently we're about 15% conscious and 85% patterns are just creating, right? So whether it's fear-based or whether it's love-based, and there's sort of fear and love are the same, like they're in the same space. One doesn't push the other out of the way. You're just either connecting with one or you're connecting with the other, whether you're connecting with fear or whether you're connecting with love. And so in that imaginary space, that's all happening. We're creating. Most of what we're experiencing is not conscious. So, at any rate, when I'm speaking about imagination, I'm hoping that, and myself included, that I'm consciously opening my heart and looking at ways to create a more beautiful world. And I tell you, it's so fascinating that it's difficult. Like, why would it be difficult to imagine a beautiful world?
Exactly.
Because there's so much going on that isn't.
Exactly.
You can think of it, but you can't think of how to bring it, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, the latest class that we did in Creator Code was about goals and putting that out. So it's next level. It's not just like letting yourself think of the thing. And then one of the things that happens with goals is people put the things they don't want. They say like, freedom from this kind of tyranny and that control, or, that I want everybody to be fed because I'm holding starving children in mind. And this is the hard part to get to that place where you actually hold only what you want in mind.
Yes.
Not the starving children, not the tyranny, not the limitations, not the this, not the that. And
Agreed.
and then again back to just not being toxically positive. I'm not here to give people anesthetic or distraction or to go, this is a way to go deeper into it. And like if we are headed for like the worst of the worst in our world, this is how I want to go down, creating every single day where I gave myself that job. And that's my work. That's my lane. That's where I am. I'm here to help people. I'm here for the sake of people that want to do inner work. I know you're exactly in that same place. That, I hold the vision that if enough people could know how their inner world actually works and be able to deprogram and find freedom no matter what's going on, then to me that's like the most important thing. All creation comes much more easily out of that.
Agreed. I think one of the things that I've said to myself is I will go as far as I can in this lifetime. So we'll see what that means. I don't know yet. I'm still exploring. But, when I leave, and I believe in reincarnation. I can't prove it, but I believe in it. And so that if I do reincarnate, and come back and we're still in the mess, that I have better ideas, even still going forward. So anyway,
Yeah, there you go. I got infected with the idea of parallel lives recently too, as a different, rather than a sequential, die, reborn, but that they're all happening at the same time. And it's good because it eroded both beliefs in a way.
Yeah.
Rather than having the expense expense of the belief. It takes energy to create and manufacture a belief all the time. So it's, just as well to not know.
Right. I
Like
don't think
to
we
not
like
know.
not knowing, though, do we?
But we don't like it. It's not
Yeah.
comfortable.
It's not
Right?
comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And freedom is very uncomfortable. This is what I
Yeah.
discover over and over with students,
Right.
that they come to the freedom and could you welcome it? Like, nope. That's the so sometimes they're just blatantly honest. And it's like, no,
Hmm.
that's the most frightening experience I ever had.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, this has been a beautiful conversation, and I do want to respond to more of the chats if you have time. But if you feel like you needed to go, or there's anything else, I want to make sure you let people know how to follow up with you if they'd like to do some learning and to
Sure.
class with you. I know you do one-on-one coaching
I
and
do.
education as well.
Yes. Yep. I do group classes and one-on-one. I do have a website, but it's being worked on, so I'm not sure if it's responsive right now or not. Apologies for that.
What's the
But
URL?
Wonnita Mac, I think it's Meditations with Wonnita Mac. And definitely you could contact me on Facebook. I think my number's on Facebook as well, so you could text me
Okay,
if you want to. Yeah.
meditations with
What?
wonnitamac.com. That's a .com?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not coming up.
Okay. So I have somebody working on it, so it's perhaps just not live right at the moment. But
Okay. Do you want me to
yeah.
share the link anyway? Yeah.
You can if you wish, I guess. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
There it is in the chat. Yeah, you're very welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, definitely take Wonnita up on it. You can start at her Facebook page as well to connect and be friends if you'd like, if you still like Facebook. Facebook doesn't seem to show anybody my anything. I'm
Right?
lucky if I get 2 or 3 likes on a post now,
Uh-huh.
especially if it's an interview or something, especially doesn't like that. Instagram will only like it if I post a picture of me and my family or a selfie or my food or something like that. That
All
seems
the deep stuff.
all the deep stuff. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Hello,
Mhm.
Wrangler. Nice to see you. Most apropos chat. You too. Thanks for sharing. You're very welcome. Yes, this should be the ultimate. Something in the madhouse. Fur in the
Yeah.
madhouse. I think that it might be a type of fit in the madhouse at the time. Perfect. Okay. Fit, I think it is.
Mhm.
I make a lot of typos in chats because it's so fast. You're trying to get it
Oh,
in the same time that they're talking. And
yeah, yeah. My
yeah.
phone is hilarious when I'm texting people. I tried to type out a clock the other day and it wouldn't, like it just wouldn't put it in there. Anyway, I just laughed and went on with my life. But yeah, texting is something else. If you get a text from me, it might say anything.
Yeah. Oh, Wonnita's drunk again. No, I just
Yeah, nope. My phone's drunk.
yeah, the phone's drunk. Exactly. Speaking of that, there was the funniest thing. It's hard to make me really laugh out loud. And this morning, I don't know if you guys are interested to hear. Let's see if I can find it faster than later. We have in the House of Free Will, we have a really good chat, and it's got an entire thread dedicated for the fun of it. So
Oh,
some
nice.
pretty cool stuff. Yeah. You guys want to see this?
Mm-hmm.
You do? Okay. Yeah, this is a laugh out loud. Oops. And I have to actually share it. Sorry, it's not going well yet. See if it will do Telegram. You're going to see all my posts. Okay, I have to, darn it, stop share first. A little clunky. It's worth it. It's worth it. Hang on. Window would be Telegram, and I would share it a sound. Okay, there's no real nice way to do this, but this is the one. Let's see if it goes full screen for you. Wear long sleeve forever. Yeah, Mom already thinks you made bad decisions. There you go. Did that come across you guys? Were you able to see it? It just went full screen for me. So, but you were seeing and hearing.
I was hearing, but I don't know what I was seeing. So,
Oh, darn it! Darn it! So that didn't help
I
then.
don't know about everybody else, but
Oh,
I
that was
could
kind of lost
hear it.
on.
But yeah, yeah.
Darn! I
I'm
should
like,
have no video. Okay. So I'll tell the short story is that and so the son wants to show his dad that he got a tattoo. That's why he's showing the
Okay.
tattoo,
Okay.
and he says it means strength and honor, is what he tells his dad, and his dad said no, it means chicken fried rice. And
Okay.
and the son says, well, there must be some deeper meaning, and the dad says, you want some egg rolls with that?
Okay,
I'm
that
sorry
would have been funnier.
I'm sorry, you guys. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. I want to do it again. But Telegram's weird to share. As soon as I hit the go button there, it fills my entire screen. So I can't
Okay.
see you
Can't
guys
see what's going
anymore,
on. Okay.
or I
Yeah.
can't see what's happening. I should have asked sooner. So I apologize. Anyway, it's I wonder if I could get a link to it. No, it's a private group, so I can't. You guys will just have to join the House of Free Will.
There you go.
And I was thinking that, Wonnita, could I put you in a headlock to come in there?
You maybe have to do that, Beth.
Yeah. It's so funny. I see my friends and they end up having nothing to do with my life at all. But it's fun in there, and there's such amazing people. We got Alex Michael and Scott Perry recently joined, two amazing musicians in our community, and we got a really kick-ass law guy who's downright boring. I love him. He's telling the truth. It's boring, Wonnita. People don't. It's not fantastical. It's not mystical.
Right.
It's not exciting. It's just the truth.
Right.
We've got really smart people in the health arena. We got funny people. We got very serious adepts at doing the inner work and looking at hard things. Lots of my students and clients are in there. Now we have a filmmaker.
Oh wow.
And it's pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys will just have to come and join the House of Free Will. That's my bottom line.
There you go.
I lured you with a funny video, chicken fried rice video.
Yeah, seriously. That was funnier when you told it. The music was good. I'm like, okay, I'm missing something. I'm not sure what, but she'll likely tell me.
I'm sorry I didn't ask sooner. Yeah. It was just
okay.
the thought of getting
Yeah,
a
yeah.
tattoo forever that says chicken fried rice.
I know. I keep thinking I want a tattoo, but it's been many, many years and I can't decide what I want, so I'm still don't have. So there you go. Probably never.
Yeah. I'll stick to a henna if I really have to. I'll go for a henna if I feel compelled, because
Right.
I have changed so much in my life, and things that, the truth has continuously evolved.
Yes.
So if I go and put the truth on my arm
right.
and it's not that anymore, then
it makes it difficult.
All right. So here's how you apply to become a member of the House of Free Will and see this video. It will be worth it, I promise. But boring is so good. I know. I'm ready for boring now. I'm ready for boring. That was what Micah was saying about the Gurdjieff work, that it makes people uninteresting.
Yeah.
Right? They're not full of drama. They're not full of emotion. They're not, having strong opinions, pushing and pulling. This is the hard part for my law guy in our House of Free Will, that people try to incite him to get him angry about the injustices in the legal system. And he's not going there anymore. He's been there. He spent a lot of time and energy there. He came out the other side, educated himself, humbled himself, learned a lot. And so he won't engage in the hate material anymore, the real hate material. And then so people don't want to listen to him. But the odd one, we have a police officer now that's not to scare anybody away, but somebody that I've interviewed already has become a mouse of Free Will member. And so it's quite a little team
Yeah, it sounds like
coming
quite
up.
a team, actually.
Yeah, a little creating team and learning team. That's what we're doing over there. So boring is good. Yeah, yeah. It sounded like your anime videos, and yeah. Okay, good. Well, you could also come to the King Hero chat. That's one last chance. I can share it. I'm gonna share it over there. If for any reason you're not ready for the House of Free Will yet, since I've intimidated you, telling you how all the great people are there, and so you could pick it up on my King Hero. There's a channel and a chat. I'll grab the channel, and you can join the chat from the channel. There you go. All right, my dears. Well, I wonder if we're cooked for today, Wonnita.
I think so, hey?
That was really nice. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your wisdom and your beautiful spirit.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. I enjoyed it immensely. So thank you.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
All right, my dears. Well, oh yeah, and the word about tattoos equal lymphomas. Another reason not to get a
There
tattoo.
you go.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many people they don't want to hear that. It's so sad because they're covered in tattoos and if they're struggling. What can you do about it? It's not very easy to get that out of your body. You have to cut your arm off or something.
Yikes.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and the father said, or the son asked, "What should I do about this chicken rice tattoo on my arm?" He says, "Wear long sleeves for the rest of your life."
There you go.
That's good. Go to China, whatever you do. All right. Well, there's some laughter medicine for you guys, and I hope this was helpful. I found it very very joyful and very beautiful and connective. Right. This is another thing that's super healing is connection. So that's
Absolutely.
what we're mostly doing here. All righty. I think that's it for today. So appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for being so active in the chat that you developed a relationship with your own selves in there. That's good. You know, when you're losing control. And that's a good thing. So, all right, my dears, I'm going to set up a video on the way out. This is still very terrible. I'm sure it was painful to get Mike, a filmmaker, watching this the other day. I'm like, it's embarrassing, but this is what I have. I'm a good person to, rather than put off things until they're perfect, I just do them until they're excellent. And you guys can grow along with me. Gotcha. Didn't do that right again. So many little buttons, Wonnita. That's a lot. Did it work this time? Maybe. I think it did. All right. So much love to you and everyone. And I shall see you soon, Wonnita.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Lots of love. You're welcome. Bye for now. Oh, my true guide, Lord and supporter of all.